Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with Game 5 of the Southern Assault 2014 tournament, my Beastmen versus a Wood Elf army. So, as you know, my Game 3 was a total devastating loss. My Game 4 against Lizardmen uh, ended up being, an interesting game, but it was very stressful and in some ways very frustrating. And so I walk up to this one, I look at my opponent's list, and I see a 100% shooty Wood Elf army. And I swear, I was a jerk. I try to be a nice guy in games. I was a jerk to this, I know. Oh, my opponent made a comment like, "Yeah, so here's my list. It's a shooty Wood Elf army. It's one you may not have a lot of fun playing against." And my reaction was, "Yep, probably not." And I just sat down, like, "Let's do this. Damn it." Um, anyway, but let's go through his list. It's kind of an interesting build. So in the top right, he has one of his 4 units of Glade Guard. This one has Starfire shafts. All the other Glade Guard have True Flight arrows. So Starfire means you're +1 to wound if against forces of destruction, including Beastmen. And then True Flight arrows, of course, mean that you always hit on well, you hit with no modifiers. So for the Glade Guard, that means they're always hitting on 3s. So in front of him, he has 3 units of Deepwood Scouts with True Flight arrows. So these guys could have they scout, so they could have gone anywhere. But I made it such that he couldn't go behind my lines unless he wanted to get charged by a chariot. So he ended up just kind of putting them up here in the corner. In with them is one Way Stalker. I'll talk about them more in just a minute. Then he has 2 units of Way Watchers, 14 strong, each of them with 2 Way Stalkers in there. So that means he has 5 Way Stalkers in this list. Now, in case you don't know about Way Stalkers, their ballistic skill 7. They can snipe, and before they shoot, they can choose whether or not they want double shot or ignore armor piercing. And Way Watchers have the same rule, so that those units of 14 generate between the 2 of them. What is that? 56 shots. Yeah. So the Way Watchers, because their ballistic skill is so high at 7, they can choose to double shot. They can snipe a character, and even at long range, they're still hitting on 3s. And the downside is the shots are only strength 3. So against my level 4 or against my general, they need 6s to wound. But still, that's a lot of highly accurate shots. These guys, if he would just target low-level wizards, I mean, he could just clear them out turn 1, maybe turn 2. Pretty brutal. Got a unit of Sisters of the Thorn. They are joined by 2 Spellweavers, one with high magic, one with shadow. And of course, that unit can shoot, and these ones have longbows, but for the most part, I'm not worried about their shooting. In the woods, top left, another unit of Glade Guard with True Flight arrows. That is a Venom Thicket, and they are joined by the Battle Standard Bearer. And then on the top left is another unit of Glade Guard. So here are my chariots on the left, trying to make sure that Deepwood Scouts don't get behind my lines. I've got 1 horde, and then 2 Razorgores, and then another horde, and behind them are my Bestigor. Now, arguably, Bestigor are my best fighting unit, but against Wood Elves, I don't think so necessarily. And I really wanted to use my bunker unit to ambush, because if I get behind his lines or left or right, no matter what I roll on the ambush table, it's probably a good place for them to come in. So I put all 6 characters in this unit. So now if he wants to snipe my characters, he has an additional cover save from the woods, and possibly hard cover if he's drawing line of sight through troops. So I'm just trying to save my characters back there. I don't need my characters to beat his army in combat. If I get in combat, I'm going to beat him. And the way he's set up now, it looks like, you never know what can happen in the movement phase because he has a lot of skirmishers. But if I get into combat, it looks like I'll be able to overrun and get to a second combat and lock his troops down. This is one game especially where I really liked having miasma to lower his movement ability. Anyway, then I have another chariot over here protecting this flank, and have some harpies up front. I mainly just wanted them 6 inches away. I know that if he decides to shoot at them, they're dead. He can easily force a panic test if they're off the table. And I just didn't see a whole lot of use for them this game anyway. So, Wood Elves turn 1. He really doesn't move a whole lot. He is, as you can see it. He shoots the harpies and takes them off the table. Shoots a lot at this unit. Takes it down from 49 or 50 to, 36. And I would actually felt they didn't roll all that well. Yeah, he says, I think if you ignore his general's unit, if you ignore his general's unit and you ignore all the characters, he still has 88 shots a turn. Most of them hitting on 3s. It's brutal. Yeah, here's over here. He really didn't do much to these guys. I think killed a guy or two. I think he did try sniping my level 4. And if memory serves, I think he was still only hitting on 3s. I think we forgot to count cover saves and stuff, but it didn't matter. Even with that, he couldn't roll a 6 to wound. So there's that. Go to Beastman turn 1. So, yeah, the plan is you push both hordes up as far as possible. And then I'm going to cast Miasma Movement on one of his Waywatcher units with 2 Waystalkers, so they can't move very much, so he can't move out of my way, so I can get some charges. If he focuses his shooting, he probably can kill these Razor Gore out there, but I think that's not enough because if he kills the Razor Gore, I can still charge with my hordes. If he focuses on my hordes, I think, unless he gets really lucky, I think I'll still be strong enough to beat him in combat. And I really like, if the Razor Gores are alive, I like where they're at because it looks like they can do some flank charging. If he flees with somebody, they can chase him off the board, stuff like that. So this says Wood Elves turn 2, but if you look at all the wound markers on my Bestigor unit and my horde on the left. So the horde on the left, I took my level 4 and put him in there. And then during the magic phase, I reduced his movement on the unit right in front of my Razor Gores, and I think they reduced him by 2 or 3, so they can't move very far. I got a miscast and did a strength 6 hit to all my spellcasters. So now my guys are going to die fairly easily. Anyway, so go to Wood Elf turn 2. That unit right in front of my Razor Gores can't move much, so he took the 2 Waystalkers out of it, and they still couldn't move much. We don't know the rule on that, but we decided that if they were in the unit when the Hex was cast, the Hex still affects them. But, I can only charge so many things, so he has the Waystalkers, the Waywatchers out of that unit. On the right, yeah, he's taking all those skirmishers and moving them around my flanks, so I can't charge them. The problem is he can't move them very far. And really another problem is if he doesn't kill my chariot on the right, I've got a real juicy charge on him. Now I'll have to take dangerous terrain, and that could hurt, but odds are everything will be fine there, and a chariot will just make real short work of those small skirmishing units. So after shooting, this one, which started at 50, is now down to 29, and again, I think is rolling with subpar. I haven't done the math on it, but I think he could have done a lot more than that. Otherwise, shooting didn't affect much. Magic hasn't affected much anywhere in the game so far. I can tell you I have not used my Dispel Scroll yet, so that's a good sign. Go to Beastman turn 2. Yeah, there were a lot of charges all the way around. My horde in the middle charges his Waystalker unit. My Razor Gore, the green Razor Gore, charged both of his Waystalkers. They both fled. My chariot on the left charged one and pushed him back where you can see him, top middle. And the Razor Gore caught one of them and then reformed. So one of them down, one's fleeing. That's nice. If you look on the right, the horde over there completed a charge against his unit. It looks like we're several inches apart, but that's because he didn't feel like messing with the movement trays, so we're actually in combat. And of course, my chariot, when he shot at me, he only did 2 wounds. I passed my dangerous terrain and got an easy charge there. So I like that. If the chariot wins, the problem with the chariot is his guys are going to be stubborn because they're skirmishers in woods. But if I kill them all, or if he breaks, if he doesn't pass the stubborn test, I'll overrun and I can hit the unit behind him to the right. Of course, I'll have to take another dangerous terrain. There's the middle. And here's the far left, the failed charge with the chariot. And I'm going to go back up. If you look at the top left, my ambushing unit came on, and I put him right there. So what I'm really trying to do is I don't want his general's unit just to have free reign to bounce all over the board. So I'm trying to hem him in just a little bit. Over here, yeah, the chariot takes 2 wounds. No, I'm sorry, he takes 1 wound in combat. Remember, I started with 2 because he shot me. I took 1 wound in combat. I either killed everybody or they failed their stubborn. Either way, I overrun. I fail my dangerous terrain test. I'm sitting on only 2 wounds left, anything but a 1, and I die. And I roll a single wound, and I'm alive with 1 wound. So it always works against me. This time it worked for me. Yeah, the right side is looking nice. This one, not only did I beat the unit of Waywatchers with a Waystalker, 2 Waystalkers, not only that, but when I overran, I rolled 10 or a 12 or something really high and overran into the other Glade Guard unit, which was very, very nice. Over here, we demolished uh, the Way Watchers. I think there's one guy left and he's fleeing, so instead of pursuing, we just reform. So this is what used to be a horde. I'm now in bus formation facing his Battle Standard Bearers unit. So Wood Elves turn 3, his BSB's unit is just staying in that Venom thicket. If I move at all in there, I've got to take a dangerous terrain test for everybody. Yeah, otherwise his guys are just moving as much as he can, which isn't a whole lot. Yeah, like I put his general's unit just right in the very, very corner. Yeah, he magics my guys, but not enough to cause a panic test. These guys shoot the Razor Gore, kill it. He shoots my guys, and I think now he does cause a panic test, but I pass it, which is very much appreciated. These guys shoot a chariot. He can hit me. He has a tough time wounding, and I'm making a fair amount of armor saves. And I keep saying through the game that he's not rolling well. I would hate to see what this list could do if he rolled average, because finally I just took a picture of the dice. They were so ridiculously bad. I don't know if this was shooting or combat or what, but this seemed very, very typical for him. So on the right, my chariot, he doesn't sneak a wound through. My chariot kills everybody or chases him off the board. And I reform. Now again, because that was an overrun, I can reform on his turn and then on my turn charge. These guys, same thing. They were in horde formation. I actually lost a few guys, but I killed all of his guys except 2. They're running towards the table edge on Snake Eyes to rally, so instead of pursuing, I just reformed. And again, this is my opponent's turn, which is really, really nice for me. So Beastmen turn 3. If you see, all my level 1s are out of the Bestigor unit. They're still around the Herdstone. The Bestigors with my general and BSB are coming in, I'm trying to hem in his general's unit, even though it's still in the far corner. I could see the writing on the wall that there's a good chance he's going to try to come around here. Let's see, on the top right, the Gore charge his Glade Guard that were in the woods. They flee and get away. My horde that's now in bus formation in the middle charges a Way Stalker, and he just stuck. I think he didn't want me to redirect and get into his BSB's unit. My chariot on the left charges into a Glade Guard unit. That's scary because I only have 1 wound left, but you never know what might happen. And the chariot on the right charges his whatever unit was there. I think they were Deepwood Scouts, and they flee, and I catch them. So there's that. These guys are actually in combat, although you can't see the enemy unit. Yeah, I mean, he still takes 6s to wound me, and then I'll still have a 4-up armor save. There's a chance I survive. I don't know what spell was cast, but I got a miscast and killed 1 of my level 1s. Luckily, the other 2 passed their panic test. Impact hits killed 3, and then he rolled a 6. I couldn't make my armor save, and he killed the Razor Gore chariot. And over here, yeah, we easily kill the Way Stalker and reform. And we go to Wood Elves turn 4. So you see his general's unit starting to move out. He moved around. I turned my ambushing unit to face him just to force him to move out in the open. I don't love all this empty open space over here, but I do have a Razor Gore and a Razor Gore chariot that if he's not careful, I can charge him. And they may not do a whole lot. They may die, but you just never know. And my Bestigors are going to try to come up and see if I can keep them hemmed in. If you look on the top right, his Glade Guard did not rally. They kept on running, but they didn't land in front of my horde. Now, what I intended to do on my turn was to charge that Glade Guard with my unit of Gore that are out of this picture on the top right, push them in front of my horde, have the horde charge him off the table, then redirect into his BSB's unit. But anyway, when it came time to do it, I forgot about that, and I declared a charge with my horde before I pushed him, so I kind of screwed up there, but that was what I was thinking. Yeah, shooting opens up, kills the Razor Gore. This is starting to hurt over here because I kind of needed that Razor Gore to pose a threat to his general's unit. We go to Beastman turn 4, so yeah, like I said, I declared my charges in the wrong order, so I went ahead and charged with my horde into the woods. I lost a few guys to dangerous terrain. It wasn't too bad. Instead of charging with the unit on the top right, I just moved up as far as I could, because I figure if he rallies, I'll just charge him and we'll be good there. I moved my chariot up. The Bestigor unit is just coming around to trying to hem in his general's unit. And my chariot charges the Glade Guard. After combat, the Glade Guard is destroyed, and chariot turns to face his general's unit. So really, they just can't stay there. They can hop back in the corner. If they do that, I have a really, really good chance of hemming him in back there. And during the magic phase, I cast Miasma on them and lowered their movement by 3. So now they can't hop around quite as well as they could. The problem is, if he can just kill that chariot, I just don't have anything to reach him. So we go to Wood Elf turn 5. His Glade Guard in the top right rally. His general's unit moves to the left. That's all the units he has left on the table. Yeah, there's that Miasma, which worked very, very nicely on him. These guys rally. And shooting or magic kills a chariot, so I mean, my opponent had to do it. He's also trying to get the big high magic spell off on my Bestigor unit, but just not able to do it. I think now I finally used my scroll. I think it was turn 5. So just really his magic all game long wasn't doing much. Was actually Beastmen turn 5. I declared a double charge into his Glade Guard. They did stand and shoot against my chariot. I only had 1 wound left, and I failed it. Darn it. That was unnecessary. Probably what I should have done is just charge with the gore, and then just kept this guy in position so that if we stuck around for 2 rounds of combat, he could charge in later. Regardless, yeah, so I'm really hesitant. After I beat the BSB's unit in the woods, I reformed, and even reforming makes me take I'm just taking dangerous terrain for everything I do. So what I do is I reform, and then I put my Great Brave Shaman out of the woods. So I think that unit, I'm just going to stay in the woods unless his general's unit comes to where they can charge him. And then I just take my Bestigor unit, I put him in a kind of a conga. That's the opposite of a conga line, I guess. What I was really trying to do is get my general and BSB within range of my gore unit on the top right, because without leadership and a reroll, that combat is not a foregone conclusion. It also serves the purpose of hemming in his general's unit just a tiny bit. And these, I'm going to go back up. So my gore unit, ambush unit on the top left, they had not a difficult charge against his general's unit. It would have been in the flank. I don't know what I needed to roll, but they weren't that far away, and they failed it. Now, had they made it, I don't know if they would have won or not, but it's a charge, a flank, and I probably would have done some wounds. I'd like to think that could have been it, but I swear. So these failed charges will be the death of me. After combat, the Glade Guard are dead. All he's got left is his general's unit. This time he was not Miasma. He moves around here. He's just trying to get the big direct damage smell against my Bestigor unit. So he's also, in my last turn, I was death sniping, and one of his mages took a wound. So he's trying to get out of range of my Great Brave Shaman. His magic doesn't quite work. I bring my Great Brave Shaman out, so I'm still in range of death sniping. I tried death sniping to get points of the general, and I couldn't do it. Game ends like that. So it ended up being a big win for the Beastmen. The only thing in our scenario objectives, a lot of it had to do, I needed to have killed this unit, or at least got this unit down to half strength, and killed his general, and I just couldn't do it. Those characters in fast cav units are just my bane, especially in a list like this that just doesn't have shooting. So there you have it, Southern Assault 2014. I ended up having 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. I took 9th place if you go just by battle scores, and I took 6th place overall once you throw in painting and sportsmanship and composition. So I was happy with that. I was especially happy with that after that devastating loss. I thought after that loss I really had no chance to place well at all. 6th place out of 36 is, I'm happy enough with that. More importantly, in the race to make the Masters, or the Regional Masters Invitational Tournament, it's the winner of all 4 large GTs in our region, and then they also bring in, I think, an additional 12 people. And with this, I'm at the moment, I'm high enough to make the Masters Invitational Tournament. I didn't make it last year, so that is one goal I had this year. So it's still possible I could get nudged out if in the remaining 1 tournament, if somebody if enough people do really, really well, because they only take your top 3 places. So I've played in 3, and I've done at least decently in all of them. So again, overall, I'm happy with it. I hope everyone once bitten here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has several functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like the video, you can leave a comment, you can favorite the video. I want you to know that I appreciate it when you do things like that. It feels much more interactive than simply me talking to a screen. So if you're willing to do so, please like, comment, and favorite the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and you certainly are welcome to share this video on your blog or other websites if you are so inclined. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.